All right, we're good. We're live now. So welcome everyone. I'm not live. Welcome everyone to Lunch Academy episode 001. My name is Sam and I have Sade with me here, my lovely co-host, and we're also live on Facebook. It's the very first one. So Lunch Academy is meant to be the offside banter, taking a deeper look into our everyday lives. That is the crazy world of startups. Of course, we all work at Launch Academy, Vancouver's leading startup hub. How are you doing there?
Doing great.
I'm actually doing terrible. I have
an
awful cold, and she didn't believe me when I said when we turn the lights on that it'd be really, really hot. And now she has regrets.
We're learning. Also, this is my first time ever recording myself on anything, so I'm nervous of how I sound.
So say hi to Sade's parents. They're gonna be seeing this. She is tagged on Facebook. So just a couple of notes just to start us off. If you're not following us already on Facebook, make sure you give us a like there. Facebook Ignited. I think Launch Academy Ignited. Yes. Wow, I butchered that one.
You just did some marketing for Facebook.
Yeah, I just did some more marketing for Facebook as if they need more. You can follow us on Twitter at launch_academy for all sorts of startup goodies. What's our Instagram handle?
Our Instagram handle is just Launch Academy.
Launch_academy. So there you go. Make sure you're following us on all of that. And by the time you guys listen to this, we'll have our podcast up too. So make sure you're subscribed on iTunes and all those other things as well.
Fun.
Cool. So I figured we'd start off everything a little bit more light today. It's just us. In the future, we'll bring in some of our cool entrepreneurs, some of our fun guests that we've interacted with over the last 6 years at here at Launch Academy. But speaking of 6 years, we just turned 6, right? So we just had our party last night. I mean, how many months have you been here though?
I think it's been almost 8 months, which is crazy. It doesn't feel like that long.
It's flown by a little bit, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
It's crazy how in 8 months I already feel like I kind of know everybody. And yesterday at the birthday party, it was nice to see everyone's faces and be like, wow, I know most people here.
It's always good coming from our community manager that she knows the people at Launch Academy. That's fair enough. So, I mean, like you got to hear a couple of testimonials, a couple of people that were here. We got to meet Jason from Battlefly. Shout out to Jason, who was our very, very first member. Did any of those stories, like, you're like, wow, all this stuff kind of happened?
What do you mean?
Well, to tell everybody on air the story of Jason, when we first started Launch Academy. Launch Academy started on April 1st in 2012. And if you're smart enough with dates back then, April 1st was actually a Saturday. And we were working out of the East Side Games space. So on Saturday, the Battlefly co-founders just hopped in because they said, hey, we're joining Launch Academy. And they hopped into and sat down at a desk because we told them they could sit wherever there was space. And he worked out of there for 2 days. And for 2 days, nobody asked who this young Asian dude was that was just sitting in their offices. And when Ray and Alex and all those other guys showed up on Monday, like, what are you doing here? Like, it was like, oh, I've been here for 2 days. You guys said it started on the 1st of April. So I came in the 1st of April. So he was here before everybody else was here. And that's kind of just the weird world of startups that we live in. But I mean, like for you, where did you work before you worked at Launch Academy?
So before I worked at Launch Academy, I worked at a consulting firm, and it did give me a little bit of an intro into the tech industry because they focused on doing Shred and grants for companies. And I mean, Shred really applies to a lot of tech because it is research development. So I did work hand in hand in that, and I worked in biz dev. So it was definitely a big change when I came to Launch Academy. And what I knew of tech back then and what I know of tech now, in terms of what it feels like to be in the tech industry, is like night and day. I'm like very pleasantly surprised.
Did you get asked what's your favorite app on the first day?
Yes, that was one of my interview questions.
What is your favorite app at that time?
Ray asked me what my top 3 apps that I use the most on my phone, and I think I said the weather forecast. I think it was Google Calendars and WhatsApp.
It's pretty plain.
I know. So he was like, "Why the weather?" And I'm like, "I'm just checking when it's."
Okay, so what was the weather today? What did the forecast say today?
Cloudy all day with a chance of sun around 5 p.m. It might clear up at 5 p.m. and then the sun will set and it'd be gone. It's gonna be pretty hot though.
I feel like I could be
14
your weather
degrees.
forecast. That's pretty token.
Check it every morning. I also check it every hour to see if it's not raining.
Ridiculous. It wasn't raining when I came in, by the way.
Oh, good.
Cool. So I kind of want to segue that and kind of to get to the main topic that I wanted to discuss today. And I kind of call this segment, "What does your mother think you do?" Because I mean, I have some stories about what my parents and my grandparents think I do. But let's start with you. Like, you've been here for 6 months now. Your parents, they're not local, they're from abroad, so they really don't get like a day-to-day of whatever the heck, you're the community manager at Launch Community. What does that like? What do you actually, well, we'll start with this. What do you think they think you do? And then what do you actually do?
Okay. Well, yeah, there's first for sure, I do understand that pain of having to explain to your parents who have a big, obviously, generation gap between you, and B, to add on to that, there's the whole cultural gap with my parents, right? They live out of Costa Rica and they're originally French. So there's explaining to them in French what I do that is usually explained in English was already pretty hard.
Okay, what is startups in French and Spanish?
That's tough. Okay, so startup in Spanish, there's no startup name. It just says empresas que comienzan. It's like the early stage startups. But in French, I don't even think there's a word for startups. Can we Google it?
I guess we could. I mean, like, as you were talking, I was thinking about, because I have a Chinese background, I have no idea what the word startups is in any other language other than English.
I think English might be the only.
It's kind of like one of those made up words that we just made up and like Americanized along the way, like meh or dough.
It's like even Google Translate is having a hard time.
Well, it's established. We need to make Let's Start Up. Yeah,
and even the word incubator too is like, when I say incubator in French, it literally means like an incubator.
Like stuff with an egg.
So it's a whole mess. So me trying to explain to my parents what I do is like mostly I'm like decoding. But at the end, I think they pretty much. I think they will.
So when your mom or your dad is out with their friends, like, "Oh, what's Sade up to? What's Sade doing today?" What do you think they say?
They say she works in technology. That's what they say. And my mom actually came to visit Launch Academy when she was walking by, and she came and did a walkthrough, and she saw our setup here. And I think that now she thinks I work for Google. Because she was like, "Your office looks like what Google would look like in their office." I'm like, "Yeah, just go with that. Say I work for Google."
Has she seen that movie, The Internship?
Yeah, I think that's where she gets it from.
But we don't have like the funky hats and.
Yeah. She just saw like the bean bags and she was like, "Yeah, my daughter works for Google."
Yeah, because that's the funny thing is like I've spent my whole career in tech, but the major issue is I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, and I think like pretty soon you'll find similar issues is either people look at you and there might not be a healthy amount of respect for non-coders in the startup world, but also outside the startup world, everybody thinks you're a coder. Like this is literally what my grandma thinks is every time I see her, she'll hand me her phone and be like, "Get me the photos from the internet." I'm like, "What photos?" I'm like, "From the internet. You work there. Get the photos." And I'm like, "Yeah. I don't work the internet." Yeah. And then she's like, "But you do stuff on computers all day. Yeah. You work on the computers." I'm like, "I work on a computers. I don't build computers. I don't fix computers. Yeah. I just press buttons and make sassy jokes on the Twitters, and that's my role, right?" It's
a wrong assumption. Everybody now assumes that I'm techie because I work at a tech incubator. No, I'm still not techie.
Do you get people asking you to fix their printer because you work at a tech incubator? I get that a lot.
I get the whole like, "Oh, here, Sade, you work at a tech incubator, right? Look at this. Look at this line of code." I'm like, Is this the Matrix? I don't know what this is.
But I think that draws into kind of this bigger topic. Like I think in the startup world and even in the business world, there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of information out there about, you know, the founders and the co-founders. And obviously if you're in incubators and you know that industry a little bit deeper, you talk about those people too. There really isn't much light about what about the people surrounding those founders and surrounding those startups. Like, what do you think it'd be like to be the spouse of a co-founder or the parents of you know, a tech founder, when you're like, you know, they might, in my situation, right? Like my parents immigrated from Hong Kong. They came and they worked themselves up through the glorious Canadian work society ecosystem. My dad started as like a dishwasher, and then now he's doing insurance, and there's this long convoluted story there. But you know, they busted their butt. And I don't know if it's just Chinese culture, maybe Costa Rican culture too. Like they were really working towards, you know, making sure that I get through college and I get in college, and then I get, not so much that they wanted me to be a millionaire, billionaire or something like that, but they wanted stability. And then I show up and I work for like the most, you know,
unstable,
the unstable industry, comma, period, whatever. And so like, I think that can be tough for a lot of people that, and, you know, you having been here now for 6 months, like you get to see some companies have come through and they're still trying to make it through whatever the next step is. They're trying to, in startup terms, increase their runway. But we've also seen some leave, right? Like you've been here long enough now that you've noticed some startups, you just stop hearing about them. It's a scary thing. Like, so, you know, with like why I'm kind of pushing this topic a little bit is because you're not in it too deep yet. Like what can you pick up from these people who, you know, they have families, they have cousins, they have wives and husbands and kids and whatever. What can you learn from that? Like in terms of like what their sacrifice is and how, you know, I mean, we both have salary jobs, so it's a little bit different for us. Like, what would you pick up from that?
I think like the immense sense of confidence that you require to take that leap. That's what I've been truly shocked about. And I honestly admire, and I hope that one day I can believe in myself to that extent to risk a lot and not only risk things that affect me, but that affect my family and my spouse and all that. That level of confidence is incredible. And hearing people talk about what they do and what brings them confidence and why they think they'll succeed is pretty inspiring. Like just the other day, I met for coffee with one of our members because I wanted to learn more about how to deal with money, and he's really good at that. His startup is unrelated to that, but he was doing me a favor as a friend. So we're sitting and eventually talking about money. We loop back to me asking him a question of like how he dealt with funding his startup because he funded most of it. And he was telling me, so he took all the money out of his pension plan because he started his pension plan when he was really, really young. And that was one of his suggestions to me is just start saving now as young as you can possibly be. Even
though he took his out.
And like he spent his 20s, like he said, I spent my 20s living as if I was still in university. So he's like hustled his 20s to save as much money and put as much money in his pension plan. So he'd have like a cushion. And then he took that entire cushion and put it into a startup that he still doesn't know if it's going to pay him back. I'm like, wow. And then he said that very confidently with no even hint in body language of like anxiety. I was like, because like I feel like if I told that, my voice would start shaking. Like, you would see signs of like weakness in there.
my last couple years might be rough. Where do you think that confidence comes from?
Oh, that's a tough question. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where they get it from because some of these founders aren't even specialists in what they do. They just have an idea that they think they could make it better. So the confidence may not always come from being a specialist. If it does, that's nice because you know what you're doing really well. But I think that they put out confidence, but there must be some like, I feel like maybe they go to bed every night being like, what the hell?
They have these hype jam playlists on their Spotify. They probably don't have the Spotify premium. They're just dig through the ads because they need that last $15 for AWS space.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely crazy. And I think that's part of the inspiration. What keeps me frankly here is just seeing some of the risks these people take. And you know, outside looking in, sometimes you would call them stupid risks, right? But just having, I think it goes back to that kind of that very old saying, and it's very cliche, is it is about that journey, right?
Yeah.
One of the misdemeanors about finding or being finding a startup, finding. What if you just found a startup? Starting a company is like, you know, entrepreneurs are in this to make it rich. And you know, while when we look at Forbes and we look at Times, like clearly we see some, you know, self-made people there, and you know, kudos to them. I really think it's the entrepreneur in the startup world is full of people who can't get that out of their head, right? Because I look at a lot of startup founders in here, and I see a group of very, very talented people. In fact, I remember one of the founders a couple of years ago. He was in Launch Academy for about a year or so, and him and his partner were making games. They were making platformers, and maybe the games weren't selling as well as they did, and so eventually it came to a point where they needed to go get jobs, and you know, having been unemployed a couple times myself, like I know how like cruel that whole process is, right? It's a
full-time job.
Yeah, it's a full-time job to get a job. And so when they were knowing that, and you know, we'd been working out of the space for about a year, you know, I felt bad for them knowing that they're going to have to go and get regular Joe jobs and not going to build games on their own. The guy comes to me the next day and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got a job." I'm go, one day. So that speaks to like the kind of talent. And honestly, like you were saying with your buddy, if it was just about the money and that payoff, you know, you could be doing like kind of like the slow and steady, get a job, put some of your money in your savings, and with the skill set that a lot of these people have, like it's not that difficult to be, I guess technically we're already 1% of the world, but
they're taking the like real.
Yeah, like I really think there's more to it, and like my encouragement to anybody like thinking of starting a startup is have you actually tried other things? Is there something that can give you job satisfaction or passion or all those other words that you throw out there? Like I would say the last thing I would do is start a startup, is because I cannot do anything else, right? Like this is what I'm gonna do, and that's it. I can't work for someone. I can't be a bank teller
but that's you speaking without like having some amazing idea in your mind that's nagging you all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like any rational person would be like, okay, I feel like I'm on the same boat as you, and I feel bad saying that working for a tech incubator, but I don't have anything in my mind that would be worth risking everything. And to be honest, it would be the last thing I do is start my own company, and not even just a startup. Like I come from a family full of the serial entrepreneurs, but they never kind of, not in a tech side. They just always kind of created their own companies and side hustles and made it work. And so they've always been their own bosses. And so I grew up around that. But now, like getting into the workforce, I'm like, I don't want to be my own boss. I don't think ever, like ever. So I feel like most people probably feel that way, and they like the stability and security until they get this idea and they're like, I have to do it. Like I have to do it. And they go against everything to do that. Yeah.
But I think this is a long, convoluted way of saying kudos to those that are making the risk, that are grinding it out every day. And, you know, at Launch Academy, we're here to support you and hopefully kind of be the stepping stone to your dreams. So speaking of all the ideas and startups, we're going to play a game. So the team back at Launch Academy helped me with this game. And this game is called Startup or Made Up. Okay. So I have a list in my hand. I'm going to give you 15 seconds each to decide if this is a real startup that's out there in the world. You're not allowed to use your phone, or it's something that we made up.
Okay.
Okay, so are the rules clear? So
Yeah.
I'm going to start the timer after I read it. Kopi's in the background. Kopi's my dog.
Kopi.
He apparently wants to play also. So he'll have his input in on this. So are you ready for your first startup or made up?
Yes.
All right, we're going to go. So this startup, the name is Waldo. You know, like, where's Waldo? And it's an app that helps you find your friends in a crowd.
I'm going to go with startup.
You think it's real?
Yeah.
An app that finds your friends in a crowd. Cool. So I'm going to reset that.
With the whole festival industry, I feel like that would be very useful.
So it is incorrect. Waldo is a real startup, but it is not an app that helps find your friends in a crowd.
So build that?
Somebody's going to got to Google what Waldo does. So shout out to Waldo. Okay, next one.
Down.
This one is called Lunch Badger. Badger like the animal, one word.
That's a terrible name.
Compose, manage, optimize, and monetize on your APIs and microservices, all within a serverless multi-cloud microservices platform. Easily gain actionable insights in real time with Lunch Badger. So if this was made up, this is some good technical jargon to throw in there.
I feel like I'm just being tricked with all this. I feel like it's too good. This description is too complicated to be true.
So you think it's fake? Wait, can you even see through this?
No, I can't see anything.
5 seconds.
I don't know.
4 seconds.
Can you? Okay, I'm gonna say startup.
Real?
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah?
It is correct. Lunch Badger is serverless multi-cloud microservices platform. Work on your pitch.
Yeah, it sounds very useful. Honestly,
clearly we're not the customer base for
Waldo sounds more useful though. I want an app to find my friends in the crowd.
Okay, so the next one is Cheetah Feet.
Okay.
Right on the heels of Lunch Badger. So it's a laptop stand with the technology used to speed up your computer processor to help you launch a task forward. So I think it's actually just like a laptop stand, but then, like with the fans and, like when you tilt your laptop up and then the
so
fans
it's a
get
laptop stand.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help there's no way a laptop stand would make your computer faster.
So
Honestly,
how it works is, it's cooling.
Okay.
It's cooling effect. So I think it's just a laptop stand with like a fancy.
Okay. Yeah. What's the name again?
Cheetah Feet.
Cheetah Feet. I'm going to say it's a startup.
Startup? Mm-hmm. No.
What?
So Claire from the Launch Academy team made this one up.
Yeah, but that would be a good name for it.
Oh, there's your $1 million idea now.
There's too many laptop stands out there.
Moving along, we have.
Wait, I'm 1, 2. I'm losing.
You're losing. Okay. You're 1 and 2. We have a food hunter. Craving something but not sure. Through artificial intelligence, Food Hunter is able to determine your cravings even before you crave it.
Not possible.
Not possible. She's a startup community manager that doesn't believe in the power of technology.
You can't.
Can you?
How can you tell what I'm craving through AI? Okay, I'm gonna say made up.
Made up? Yeah, you're right.
Yes, I know.
Made up.
The day that you can predict cravings through AI, I'll be the first ones to find out.
Well, we're gonna play another game later that we're gonna figure out whether I can predict your cravings. So
okay.
So stay tuned for that. So the next one is Karhoo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Karhoo. Karhoo. Karhoo is a revolutionary ground transportation technology ecosystem designed to address the challenge of improving mobility in our crowded and polluted urban centers.
I still don't know what they do. Is it a car app?
No, it's a ground transportation technology ecosystem.
What the hell is that? Is it a car?
This is really hard. Some of these descriptions.
Ground transportation. It was so.
I think they designed something that helps with the ecosystems of cities.
Oh, I see.
That
I'm gonna say startup.
Improves pollution and things like that.
Startup.
What's your score right now? 2 and 2.
Yeah.
2 and 2. All right. This one is correct. This one is real. So I have one more. So you're 3-2 right now. So
Okay.
you're either gonna win this one or you call it a draw.
Okay.
So really, I don't know. This feels like too easy for like
Okay. What is it gonna be like? Uber.
No, it's not Uber. So this one is A+.
A+.
Have you heard of it?
A+.
Or have you not heard of it?
No.
I guess you wouldn't know. But here's what's throwing me off.
Okay.
The digital media company, co-founded by Ashton Kutcher, promises to deliver positive news with the hope of affecting meaningful social change. Launched in January, very specific, the site features sections with stories on animals and adventures, among other topics. So you have Ashton Kutcher talking about animals and adventures, hence A+.
I'm gonna say that's made up.
Do you think Ashton Kutcher actually bothered with this stuff?
I don't think Ashton Kutcher wouldn't be doing this.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I don't know him.
How much do you know about Ashton Kutcher?
I know nothing.
Really?
I've seen him on a couple movies.
What is he well known for?
I feel like if he were to speak, he wouldn't be speaking about outdoorsy stuff. He'd be speaking about, I don't know, solving worldwide issues. I know he does a lot for that. I don't know. So I'll give you one last chance. An actor named Ashton talking about animals and adventures. Really, I'm just really trying to get my alliteration points in here. Okay.
To show off to my grade 9 English teacher that I can do alliteration. And it's called A+.
Why you guys?
Everybody's looking at you blankly.
I'm gonna say it's made up.
Oh, so close. A+ is definitely real.
What?
Yeah. You don't spend enough time on your Facebook feed. A+ does tons of like
Really?
motivational videos and you know, one of those not news, but like they do lots of stories and stuff. So
this is what you get when you live under a rock.
Are you sure you want to do this podcast thing?
I'm definitely not in tuned enough for this.
Cool. So
I almost won.
Thanks to Matthew, Caroline, and Claire for coming up with the made up questions. So if you guys have any submissions for the future, feel free to let one of us know. Moving on, like a couple of announcements we have. What do we got going on, this week and coming up at Launch Academy or otherwise?
So I've got a few events. I had it on my phone. I have to bring it back up. Sorry, guys.
Oh, my wife is calling.
All right. So next week we've got an intro to Ethereum event on Friday. You can sign up to any of our events on our Pick a Tick account. You just look up Pick a Tick Launch Academy. It should show up.
Who's doing that event? Do you know?
It's led by our general manager,
Cool.
Hussein Halak.
Yeah.
He has been doing these, I think, once every month, like one intro to blockchain and then one intro to Ethereum per month. Intro to blockchain happened last week. So yeah, intro to Ethereum. If you want to learn the basics and everything Ethereum, then
cool. I was gonna ask a really stupid question of what is Ethereum, but then I figured I'd just find out at the event, right?
Yeah.
I'll save that one. I
wouldn't be able to explain it either way. So, and then the following week on April 19th, we have a AMA, so Ask Me Anything. And again, it's with Hussein. Hussein is the star of April right now. Usually we do these with other people as well. We
promise you we won't just have
it's not all
announcements
about Hussein.
for Hussein.
But yeah, if you want, if you kind of want an in into what the startup tech industry is doing and what it's like to work for a tech incubator or launch your own companies and fail. And so Hussein has gone through a lot and he has a lot to say, and he definitely has a lot of cool experiences. So definitely a great AMA to go to and just ask some very specific questions you may have about the startup journey. Yeah.
And I mean, on that note, like we said, we celebrated our 6th birthday on April 1st of this year. And with that comes a couple more announcements. We announced that we're doing a partnership with Ash Moira, the godfather of Lean Canvas, and he's the founder of Lean Stack as well. So we're partnering with him on our Lean Acceleration Entrepreneur Program. Wow, I butchered that too. Lean Entrepreneur Acceleration Program, short is LEAP.
And I think a press release got put on beta kit. I'm also butchering that. Beta kit.
So after the show, we're gonna go home in front of a mirror and we're gonna practice our pronunciation.
Yeah.
I mean, like English is your third language. English is my second language. So you know.
I think it's the mic.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with
it. We're nervous. That's what it is, guys. We're nervous.
Yeah. Go to Beta Kit. Check out the press release on.
Yeah, so we're really excited to work with someone of Ashmore's caliber and have him co-sign on our program is just a testament to the work that the team's been doing. Also, a different announcement: we are accepting our applicants for the Startup Visa program as well. So if you're listening to this and you're not in Canada and you have an amazing company, like we want to hear from you. So if you're interested in that, go to launchacademy.ca/startup visa. We're taking applications for the next 2 months for our, I guess we call it the spring cohort, but really it'll start diving in the summer. One final announcement and then some shout outs as well. It is with great sadness that we're announcing that intern Matthew's last week is next week. So Matthew's been a part of our team for over a year. So if you guys are in the office or if you've worked with Matthew over the last year, be sure to give him a big hug for us. I know he loves hugs.
Yeah.
But he's been an awesome member to the team for the last year. And I think he's going back to school. Like, didn't we tell like all these startup people to like drop out of school and stuff like that? Like,
yeah, Matthew,
he's very counterculture there.
Drop out. He's also probably the smartest person here. So maybe don't drop out. Keep going.
Maybe he's making right life decisions. Any other shout outs that you want to give shout out to?
I think biggest shout out is just shout out to Launch Academy in general for turning 6 and having 6 awesome years. Shout out to the whole team. I think everybody's ramping up for traction season. So people are hard at work. Definitely stay tuned for all of our speakers that we're announcing for traction. I believe we're announcing new speakers next week. And shout out to Sam for starting a cool new podcast.
So you can follow me on Twitter at @AnotherSamChan. I would like to become a Twitter star and quit this job. So let me know. We can talk. My agent will call your agent. Cool. So on the topic of Lunch Academy and where this concept all started was we wanted to do something a little bit funner, a little bit very Vancouver. And of course, a very heavy topic in Vancouver. One is the weather. Thank you. It's cloudy today. And the other one is food. And so this whole concept of this podcast was started on the concept of food. And what we decided was every week, whether we have a guest or not, or guests or multiple guests, one of us would bring the other something to eat. So I could think of no better way to start off. So I brought something for Sade to eat this week. And, you know, we've been sitting around for a half hour now, so it might be a little bit cold.
Yeah.
But I promise you it's still good.
Thought that through.
we could have thought that through, but we actually had like stuff to talk about. And we needed
smells very good, though.
We needed to go through the weather and that's important
great.
and stuff. So I'm gonna slide it over here.
So the way this works too is that Sam likes everything fried.
I like to eat like a child.
And I am considered the health nut of the office. So
there's a couple.
We're gonna go back and forth. Next time I'm gonna bring something super healthy to eat.
I am so scared.
Yeah.
I think there's only gonna be one episode ever. I quit.
I'm excited for this.
Every episode I'm gonna quit.
I think he gets the losing end of this because I actually also like fried food, but I don't think he also likes healthy food.
Okay, so I went to your hometown. Won't talk about where exactly you live. But this was a special in my childhood. This is a childhood food.
Okay.
This is the food of my people. So
your people.
it's ridiculous because you really can't get some in downtown, but I got you some Church's chicken.
Nice.
And the backstory behind this is because like I got it this morning and shout out to Church's Chicken, by the way, because they're open 24 hours, 7 days a week. And ever since they did that, I've been going to Church's Chicken a lot more. Like,
can you please sponsor Sam?
Please sponsor me. Like, this is not cheap, right? Like,
it really adds up.
It really does. First of all, have you had Church's Chicken?
Never had Church's
She's
chicken.
never had Church's Chicken. So, I mean, Costa Rican girl, went to school in Montreal, never had Church's Chicken. Even my dogs had Church's Chicken. So here's the backstory behind it is because it was like 9 o'clock in the morning and I had to go get Church's Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
they made me wait like a good 20, 30 minutes because they hadn't ate it yet.
You weren't ready for the
So I was just sitting in the car with my dog, like just hanging out, waiting for this chicken. And then I got the chicken and I'm like, wait, I can't eat this. I got to bring it to work.
So you have to sit in the
So I
beautiful
had to
smell.
sit and smell like we've been smelling it this whole half hour.
I'm hungry now.
So it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
But the other question I have for you is, do you eat spicy food?
Mildly spicy.
Mildly spicy. So you're gonna enjoy this. So go ahead. Go ahead. Have a bite. I'll grab some later. You can use a fork if you're sanitary. I am not.
All right, here we go.
Let me know what you think.
Thanks, churches.
But the funny thing is, so I ordered spicy, and the spicy it has a tang that kind of burns. Well, it burns. I won't say how far. But the lady at the very end, when she finally got us the chicken, was like, "Oh yeah, you want some spicy sauce?"
That's amazing.
I was like, "No, thank you. I'm good."
This does have a little bit of a kick. It's delicious.
It kicks. So you can imagine like three pieces later, you're gonna need that water that we have hanging around here. So I think that's it about the very first episode of Lunch Academy. We're wrapped up. We hope you like it. If you have foods you want us to try, we'll be back next Friday as well here on Facebook, but we'll also get that iTunes page up and running fairly soon. So any last remarks?
Thanks, churches.
All right, we're signing off. We're going to go in and enjoy this then. Peace out.